Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another very special edition of Deep Seeded Geek. This is the Game of the Month edition, where we've all played the same game to come to you and did I say that right?
We're just going to edit that one right out.
We're gonna come to you in a very clean, family-friendly way. And yes, today the game of the month is Prison Architect, picked by none other than Dino, Omnimus69. But before we get to that, and before we introduce this lovely crowd of people on my panel, we had a giveaway last month. Free stuff giving away. So all you had to do was leave a comment in the section about the video or your opinion on the game itself or anything in particular. And the prize was a copy of Indie Game the Movie, the documentary based on that follows the boys behind Super Meat Boy, Braid, and Fez. So the winner of that is username on YouTube. I hope I say this right. Tab S61. That's TABE S61. You, my friend, were not only the best commenter, you were the only commenter. But we love you for that because he was really great about it. He commented on the videos itself, the quality of the show that we're doing and everything.
Right on. We appreciate all the support. I know Brasher, he loves every one of his
videos. I love praise. I do.
Tabby 69, whatever. You've got a friend for life.
And it sounds like he might be getting into this kind of thing as well because he was asking about the gear and the setup that we do.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, loved hearing from him. Love hearing from my users. And I'm going to get in touch with you on YouTube there, and I'm going to send you the link so you can download the copy of the movie from Steam there. So congratulations. And we have another giveaway this month as well. Yes, we do. I have another Steam key to give away, this time for a video game. The game in question is in beta right now. It's not Prison Architect.
You're really mean if you're giving away a copy of War Z, by the way.
No, God, no. I would not wish. I want subscribers. I don't want to lose subscribers, okay? No, the copy of the game is from a company I really dig. They made Mark the Ninja. It's Clay Entertainment, and the game is called Don't Starve. By his gasp of excitement, you know it's a good
fan.
Big fan.
Yeah.
If you can imagine the playability of Minecraft with an art style that looks like something out of a Tim Burton movie, that is Don't Starve, okay? So we're going to be giving that away, and how you do that is, like last month, leave a comment in the section below about this video or the show itself, or anything in general that's on your mind, and we'll get back to you, all right? Now, without further ado, here are my guests for the evening. We're going to start from this side going over there. And they're going to introduce themselves, and they're also going to answer a question here. The question is, what game made you realize you're a gamer?
Hi everybody, I'm Dean. Omnimus69 on YouTube. The game that made me realize I was a gamer, SimCity 2000.
Oh wow, okay,
back
cool.
On the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, boy.
That's one of the very first games that I stayed up until 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning playing it. We would leave the Super Nintendo on and go to sleep and then get up and see what had happened to our city while we were asleep.
Funny how that comes full circle.
Yeah,
like we'll see.
Josh, Metal Gear Solid.
Yes, sir!
Numero uno.
Yes.
Right there, I was sold.
Not only that, but I'm pretty sure Josh has this as well. Just to prove how big a Metal Gear Solid fan we both are. I can't find it on here. I'll just say it. We both have our ringtone set to that whole Snake, you know, so we're total nerds.
Do you ever hang up on Josh and know that Josh is going, Jason? Jason! Jason! Oh, I sure hope you guys get that reference.
Oh, of course, they're fans of the show. Of course they get it. And last but not least.
Hi everyone, I'm Cory. That one guy on Steam had me up. I love to play with noobs. I love my noobs. The game that let me realize that I'm a gamer was Baldur's Gate 2. And not for in the conventional sense of, I played the crap out of it and everything. It was the first game that I went out of my way to research. I loved that game so much. I loved the presentation. I loved the gameplay. I loved the whole thing. It was the first game that I went out of my way to buy an art book for, to buy a soundtrack for, to find out who all the actors who did the voice acting were. For a long time, I was really into this game, and that was a big part of my enjoyment of it, was just learning everything I could about the game.
And they recently came out with a re-release for that, too.
They came out with a re-release for Baldur's Gate 1, and it's getting mixed reviews. I personally really enjoyed it. I think it's a nice tribute to the series, and I want people to buy it, because if more people don't buy it, then I don't get a Baldur's Gate 2 enhanced edition.
Yeah.
So I really want
I thought
that.
it was Baldur's Gate 2.
No, it's Baldur's Gate 1. It's still a fantastic game. It stands up on... I just want everyone to play the Baldur's Gate series.
Yeah.
Stands up really well, even by today's standards.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, I never answered the question.
You never answered the question?
This one in particular, I'm going to hold off, because it might be like a future gameplay video kind of thing for me. So I'm thinking I know, like I said, I was going to do this whole thing for a year and see how it goes. I think the last 5 gameplay episodes, I'm going to do gameplay videos on my top 5 games.
Oh, cool.
So keep in tune for that. So anyway, without further ado... It's the Josh show, apparently. Where's the gun? So there it is.
I thought that's what you were building to.
So. Oh, no, what we are building to is the game of the month. And this month it is, like I said, Prison Architect. So, who was the developer behind this game? I forget.
Isolation Studios, I believe.
Thank you. So, a little bit of history on this game. It is in the alpha stage right now, and it is also crowdfunded as well, which we're going to talk about a little bit. So the game's not finished, but they're selling it to give everybody a little bit of a taste of the action right now. So that's what we're reviewing right now. So to start off, we're going to talk about the basics of the game, and then we're going to dive a little bit underneath that and get into some different topics related to it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the graphics or the art style of this particular game. And Dean, since it was your choice, we'll start with you on this one, and we'll work our way over to Cory.
Well, pretty cartoony. You're definitely not going to be playing this game because it has amazing GFX. I think Cory said it really well. We were talking about it earlier. He referred to it as, it looks like a Flash game. Very cartoony and cheap and simple. The one thing I did like about it was when you played the intro, they had that little storyline with that guy that has to go to the execution chamber.
Mm-hmm.
I like that style of graphics. It looked kind of comic booky, and they had those Polaroid pictures coming up. That felt cool. As far as the gameplay graphics, not really. There was nothing to them. It's almost like they didn't have anyone on staff that knew how to really do graphics. So.
Yeah, true enough.
It's just basically going to be an echo in here, because that's what I noticed as well, was just you're playing a Flash animation game, really, and there's definitely probably a few tiny glitches in the game, at least from what I've seen, because it is in the alpha phase still, and you'll see people eating their lunch in the shower rooms and stuff like that. All kinds of different crazy things happens because it's just still in development.
Yeah.
As far as the graphics of the game go, I wouldn't, if it were my, I wouldn't say I would prefer to have it this way. I'd prefer to have it a little bit different. I think this game would have been excellent more on a higher graphic end. Versus the very even if it were still very pastel-y, cartoony, almost more like
Starcraft 2 kind of thing.
Anything, yeah. Anything, just like an upgrade. It really needs an upgrade.
Yeah.
I agree. I take a stronger stance than just the graphics were. I think the graphics are downright bad. I think you can make a style choice. In a game like this where you're dealing with mature content, I think you can make a style choice to make it simplified and over cartoony and over simplistic. I don't think that's why they made the graphics this way. I think that it was budgetary concerns. I don't think the graphics hold up. It's not a matter of they're oversimplified. How do I put this? They're oversimplified, and that's fine in and of itself. They just don't do a good job. When you're scrolled out, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. So you can scroll and you can kind of work around the suck and adjust for that. Yeah. But a lot of times, as I was playing the game, I'd be laying electrical cables, I'd be laying water piping down or something like that, and I'm having a really hard time figuring out what I'm doing here because there's so much going on the screen and everything's so small and just the whole screen is just saturated with ugly little images. Nothing is really visually appealing about the game. Not the animation, not the graphics themselves. I was if I happened to just kind of come over to a friend's place and it were on the computer screen and he had just kind of left it there, I would have no interest in checking it out. I would, that's a nice little whatever he's working on, and I'd have no interest in playing this game based on the graphics alone. Yeah. I certainly hope that in the final product that's something that they kind of clean up a little bit.
And that's something that people really have to remember is while we're reviewing this, reviewing something in alpha is that. We're reviewing the alpha version of this game, not
the final game.
Yeah. But that's kind of what I wonder, is because it's in alpha, like we're trying to make all these excuses, but what if this was like their initial graphical style? Like I know, like you look at something like Borderlands, right? When it was first announced, it looked like I think around the same time they were talking about Rage coming out from ID Software, and I'd be hard pressed to tell the difference between the two. And it was like just when they were rounding like the corner from a release, they said graphical switch, and they did that cell shading kind of look, and boom, Borderlands is huge and it's got its own unique kind of flair. So this game being an alpha, and I'm sure we're not the only ones who are going to complain about the look of the art style, but who knows, they could come out of the gate swinging with this whole revamp for how it looks, and maybe that'll turn it around. But right now, trying to get the word out with this, that's not a good play.
No, it's not.
And I think a lot of these indie developers, they're looking at Minecraft as a template. A lot like how you see indie movies like the Blair Witch Project. Hollywood takes notice because this little indie project did its own little thing and its own little look, and then they dissect it, and they go off and they make 5-10 other movies that are just fragments of this thing. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's what happened here with this studio. They looked at Minecraft and they said, oh, well, they're just kind of an 8-bit pixelated 3D art kind of thing. Well, if you don't need to go total AAA graphics for everything, well, we don't have to do that, because look at Minecraft. They didn't do that. Yeah. And so
there's a certain sort of ingenuousness to that,
Yeah.
I mean, Minecraft is wonderful. If we're going to talk about art style of Minecraft, it's a wonderful sort of miraculous accident that game is just so great.
Yeah.
And the over blocky pixelated style of that game is part of the fun, right? Because
it's got the charm.
Creators are using our imagination to kind of smooth the edges down, right? Mm-hmm. This game is too detailed for that. You're dealing with micromanaging prisoners and micromanaging the foundations of your building and how to do the electrical work and everything like that. 3 times it took me to get that word out, you guys. 3 times. It's. I'm sorry, but it just comes off as one of those things, one of those choices that was made not because it enhances gameplay in any way, but just because they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Let's make a Minecraft, guys.
Yeah.
And then that being said, because this is a Kickstarter, sorry to interrupt, but because it is a Kickstarter, that could have been also part of their original project, right? Okay, well, let's see if we can make a game, and we don't need too much for graphics because this is just kind of a project right now, and suddenly people love it enough to kickstart it, and now you've got like $500,000, but you're still left with this crappy Flash looking kind of art style.
Yeah.
So
that being said, I will give them a bit of credit. Like the game can do some surprising things to you, and it is sort of wonderful in its own way to see these chubby little dudes running around, and like one dude will run up to another dude, and then boom, 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 there's a blood stain on the ground.
Yeah.
But
that leads me to another point about the graphics, okay? And you guys, please feel free to disagree, but the style of game that this is a prison, okay? And they reenact a kind of prison mentality where there are stabbings, there are riots, there are all this kind of violence, and these are supposed to be the criminal element. And the fact that they chose this art style for this style of game, I think is I don't know if insulting is the right word.
I would say mistake.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it makes it look like this cutesy little thing for something that is not cutesy in any way, shape, or form.
Like when there's people like get beat up and hurt, like there's spats of blood, and like you zoom in and you can hear these guys like getting the shit kicked out of them and everything.
Yeah. And this is coming from guys who play like the vilest of vile video games, and we're looking at this game going, that ain't right.
I agree with the point you guys are making. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I could go so far as to call it a mistake. There are benefits to having this kind of art style and this kind of game. I think that if we were playing a prison architect game that was really gloomy and dark and sinister all the time, I think I as a gamer would have a hard time playing that for long stretches.
For sure.
No, for sure.
I think the charm of this game for what it is. I'm not very charmed by this game, but for what charm the game has. It's all about the fact that you've got these chubby little dudes running around doing tasks and doing things, and if you mature that up a little bit, the suspension of disbelief comes into play. You have to work harder, and now you're dealing with, on one side of the prison you've got two prisoners who are stabbing each other in the shower because one tried to butt rape the other, and on the other side you've got an army.
This
of
isn't a family function here.
Then on the other side of the prison you've got an army of little chubby little workers who are running to build your showers really quick or to build your power station really quick, and it doesn't. The two just kind of come into conflict with each other.
They don't really blend.
Yeah, I think going super.
I think that says it better than insulting. But
sure.
Yeah.
I do think that as a gamer, I'm more interested in playing a game with the sort of style that you're describing. I certainly think that I don't think what is this game? It's not a prison sim because it doesn't accurately simulate anything to do with prison.
Well, you're an architect, right?
Yeah, it's just like
even
a
that doesn't
building
sound
game.
right. I think this game should have been called Prison Management, but
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Because it's all budgetary stuff, right?
Yeah.
If it was just an architect kind of thing, you build buildings. Okay, next one. But you got to manage every little thing.
Yeah.
Which
Clever
isn't
yet misleading name.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing, but we'll get on to that. So the next up is the sound design of the game. This might be a brief little talk because I don't think there's too much sound-wise to go through. But I'm curious to see if somebody has the same opinion on one little thing. So we'll start with Josh. Sound design.
I don't know. From what I heard, everything sounds like, bzz, you have power. The pumps are running. You get your sound effects down right.
Yeah.
It fits for the cartoony feel to the game.
Yeah.
Cha-ching when you purchase something, the usual.
I agree. I super agree. I'll give a little more credit because there were a few places where the game surprised me. We were kind of, Dean was building his prison today, and we were kind of scrolling around and checking it out, and we noticed that the workers, as they're building, one guy was whistling while he's working, and another guy's going So I mean, it's cute. I don't.
And when we heard that, we actually fired
sack.
them. Yeah.
Really?
You're not doing any work.
Yeah, this is not a game for people that are fans of unions. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hiring and a lot of firing.
hire 20 workers to finish your prison, fire 15 of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like Josh said, a lot of echoes in here. Just pretty simple sound. I mean, you could tell they just spent a week in a prison recording sounds from within a prison.
Yeah.
I like when you zoom up and it does get louder and almost overbearingly loud. With how loud it would be in that area or the kitchen or in the prison or in the shower, wherever you happen to be zoomed in on. But nothing stellar, nothing special, just sounds.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. That was the one thing that kind of stood out to me, was that for all the flaws that this game might have, that was one thing that actually impressed me a little bit, was that you could zoom in. You could pretty much zoom from a bird's eye view, so you get the whole landscape, and you can zoom into a single worker, and the sound change from this distance to right up close. That's incredible that they could do that on an indie game, and have it so precise. You know, so that it's like if you're in a kitchen, you hear the humming of the refrigerator, you hear the cooking of the soup, and then you go over to where they're building something. Like you said, you'll hear whistling workers, or I guess somebody doing something in the corner of one of the rooms. I don't know. But yeah, so I thought that was really well done. Goes downhill from there.
I actually, since we're talking about sound, here's a stupid question, but is there actually music in this game? Because I can't think of anything that really stands out.
Not that I recall.
Really, eh?
I think just in the intro, but that was about it.
Yeah, okay.
But that could come later. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. I just can't. Now that we were talking about it, I couldn't remember actually hearing any.
Yeah. So, the next on the list is the actual gameplay of this video game. Cory, start us off. What are your opinions? I'm very hand gesture.
there's such a learning curve to this game.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
I played around. My first probably hour at least of this game was just me restarting, because I couldn't get the knack for what I was supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And I mean, after Dean kind of, Dean's very good at these sort of things in terms of finding...
Well, he's the SimCity king.
Yeah, well, when it comes to finding resources for these games and sussing them out, he's my go-to guy.
Yeah.
But personally, I object to any game that makes me go outside of the game experience itself to learn how to play.
Thank you.
There's a tutorial. It's a shambling nightmare of a tutorial. It is just
in the game?
Yeah.
Where?
There's a tutorial. You can
go into
the game and then go to the options menu and play the tutorial.
Really?
It's just a mess. It's like you're better off just reading stereo instructions. A lot of the Let's Plays, Dean had a video link that he gave us. They were a lot more helpful, but again, like why do I have to go outside of the company, the developers, to learn how to play their game?
Yeah. And one thing, sorry to interrupt, one thing I will say is that both Josh and myself, I believe you watched it too, there was a particular video that I watched to learn the basics, and I wish to God I had written down the person who created that video, but I will leave the link in the description. So if you could go to that guy, check out his video, or at least give him a thumbs up or a subscription, that would be very helpful, because he is the only reason I got through this game. So,
oh, sure. My experience before I stopped and started doing research was start up a foundation, and then, okay, well, I'm going to need walls. And then from there, I can't do anything because I've taken myself out of what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Once you get over the learning curve, once you kind of see how the game fits together, and once you get used to it, I can see if you're one of those people that really likes to pick over the nuances of designing things. There are people out there that can recreate scenes from Star Wars and Minecraft.
Oh God! Somebody recreated the Enterprise.
Yeah, and I much respect to people who can do that. I can't.
Yeah.
So for me, once the prison's up and running, it becomes a matter of how many balls can you keep up in the air at once. Right?
In a prison.
Yeah, in a prison. Sure. Oh, Jason, pressure.
You guys are lucky you don't play Minecraft with me. I come up with the most vile things I don't say in daily conversation.
I have a good Minecraft story to tell you later.
Cool. All right.
But yes, I can see the appeal to this game. I super see the appeal to the game, and I like this type of game. I think the experience for the learning curve involved, I think the game experience could have been deeper.
Yeah. Cool. Do you know?
Well, just based on that point, I just want to make a quick point. Minecraft is the king of having to go outside of the game.
When did this become
that's
Minecraft
That's very true.
Yeah.
My first hour with Minecraft was very similar to my first hour with this game.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of just digging holes.
Yeah.
Just digging holes.
Just digging holes.
Not sure what I'm doing.
Hey, look at that! I made a hill.
Digging holes and juggling balls.
Hey-o.
And then on that point, I feel that the one thing that we can, at least hopefully assume will get better with the release of the game, once it's gone through alpha and beta, is the gameplay itself. I'm sure that it will lead us around.
It bears mentioning, and this is very forgivable. There are a lot of bugs to the game. But I think that's forgivable. It's an alpha. You know, we can't really. It wouldn't be fair to suss out the bugs. I think.
Yeah.
But so yeah, crazy learning curve. But again, I think that'll be fixed with a release.
With a proper tutorial.
With a tutorial and a career mode and all these things.
Good call.
Turn it into a game as opposed to just making a prison and managing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it took me 4 or 5 tries to finally get like prisoners into my prison.
Yeah.
At least so that they survive the first night.
We're getting to you.
What happened with mine? First day, I'm like, okay, I got a holding cell. That's where they're gonna be.
I don't even want to know.
Like within half an hour of having them, they all escape my prison.
Oh man!
What just happened? And I hired like five guards. 5 guards standing right at the door, and they're like,
See, I got a figure.
and the guards are like, hey. Stop!
I would never think that your prisoners would escape on the first night. I would have pictured it being a stabbing riot. Just a big old room of people stabbing each other.
People stab each other and then the prisoners escape.
No, they escaped before they stabbed each other the first time. Second time around, they killed each other.
Just mass slaughter.
I want a shower! I'm hungry! Oh, I'm gonna kill someone!